The chair now recognizes the gentleman from New Jersey, Mr. Garrett, chairman of our Capital Markets Subcommittee.
I thank the chair, and I thank Chair Yellen. Congratulations on your position, and welcome to the committee. Thank you also. I understand the rules here that you are waiving a little bit and you're staying a little longer since there's a whole host of members of Congress on both sides who would really like to dig into some of these questions. So we do very much appreciate that. I'm going to step aside from some of the some discussions some people have made and otherwise get into, to start off with, your prudential supervision role, which, of course, under Dodd-Frank and other, has been expanded greatly, and I'm not going to run through the list of all the expansions. You know well what they are. But let me just begin to go back. I'll reference a letter you may or may not from a report. Back in November 2011, the GAO came up with a report on Dodd-Frank regulation and implementation of cost-benefit and analysis. And in that report, just to brief you, Fed Reserve General Counsel responded to it with a letter. That was Scott Alvarez and Senior Advisor James Lyon responding to that. And what they said, what the Fed response was, that the Federal Reserve will consider appropriate ways to incorporate these recommendations into rulemaking procedure. And I have the letter. I'll put it in the record later. They even go in further to, to seek to follow the spirit of benefit cost requirements. Cost-benefit analysis, basically. So the first question to you is, what progress are you all making? And this is 2 years ago since that letter was written. What progress are you making on actually completing and complying with this more than the spirit of cost-benefit analysis and rulemaking?
Well, the Federal Reserve strongly supports analyzing the costs and benefits of rules that it puts into effect, and we've done a great deal of that. An example I could give you is in connection with our Basel III capital rulemaking, where we participated in extensive cost-benefit analysis globally with other regulators.
Would you say you're satisfied with how it came out with Volcker? Because we had no indication that a cost-benefit analysis was done, and I asked Governor Tarullo was here where it is, because we have not seen it. So 2 years later, it seems like on something as important as that, it was not done. Do you believe it was done in that situation?
Well, I think what's important in the case of Volcker is that Dodd-Frank required the Federal Reserve, and in essence, the decision about the costs and benefits of putting those restrictions in place were decided by Congress, taking account of what the likely costs and benefits would be. And our job has been to implement it. We have certainly taken into account, issued a proposed rule, received a wide range, thousands and thousands of comments.
I appreciate that. My time is very limited, and so I would encourage that a true cost-benefit analysis was one where I could actually say, please submit for the record that we've submitted to Congress, which I think in anyone's estimation was not done fully in Volcker. Speaking of Governor Tarullo, the President has not appointed anyone to fill the position of supervisory division, Vice Chair.
Vice Chair.
Would you say that Governor Tarullo is effectively holding that position until that is completed, until the appointment's made?
Well, we operate at the board through a committee system. Usually have 3 governors and a chair. And Governor Tarullo heads the board's banking supervision committee. So in that sense, he certainly takes the lead.
Takes that role. So
but all of us are involved and all of us are responsible.
But in light of your comment, would you commit then to have the Governor Tarullo come and testify on federal rulemaking before this committee, since he seems to be filling that role until the President makes the...
He has done a great deal of testifying on these topics.
Just on that topic, we can ask him.
On all topics.
I understand. I guess I'm asking for a commitment that we can have him come back in that role and testify before the committee on rulemaking.
Well, sure. I don't want to commit as to what he's going to do, but he has certainly
I guess that's
taken
what
the
I was
lead
hoping
role
for.
in testifying on these topics.
Sure. With regard to international agreements that you negotiate, you've probably seen some ideas that are floating out there that market participants should have a better ability to chime in or comment on them. prior to and the process of making those agreements. Would you commit today to making allowing for market participants to engage in that process while you're making those international agreements?
Well, when we turn to putting rules into effect for the United States, which is what affects those firms, we always have consultation and take comments in a rigorous process of evaluating comments.
Thank you.
Time, the gentleman.